At show 4 o'clock, we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome everyone. Excuse me, going through puberty again. I apologize. Madam Secretary, do you mind
Sure.
taking the roll?
Ms. Glover. Here. Mr. Green.
Here.
Mr. Hugo.
Present.
Ms. Hughes.
Here.
Ms. Thomas. Mr. Tillage.
Here.
Mr. Walker.
Here. Okay, the meeting minutes are from the previous meeting are in front of us, and they were sent out. Has everyone had a chance to look at them, and do you have any changes or discussion points? Otherwise, I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes.
Move to adopt.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
We have to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. You let me do it last time.
You'll learn.
You let me get away with it last
It's
time.
okay. You're still in training. It's all right.
She wants a tight meeting.
Ms. Glover. Think that's a yes. Okay. Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Hugo.
Aye.
Ms. Hughes.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas is absent. Mr. Tillage.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Thank you. They're approved.
Can't put a process improvement guy in the chair position and not think find some ways to. So next on our agenda, I believe we're getting some updates on, is that Mr. Hayes?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, Commission members, Mr. Manager, Madam Clerk, City Attorney. Today we have two presentations scheduled, one of which, because we have the newer members, we wanted to do an overview and bring you up to speed regarding a data center that is strategically involved in our regional ring, including our local next generation ring that we have here in the city. You may recall that I mentioned how our local ring ties into our regional ring. And so what I'd like to do is to make sure that you all are familiar with the overall strategy and how Global Links plays into that strategy. And then next we will go through the presentation updates, if you will, a regular routine, if you would. Mr. Chris Mitchell represents Global Links Data Center. Mr. Mitchell, if you will be with us. Originally, Mr. Greg Twig, the CEO of that data center, was to be with us, but he's kind of come down with something, so he's unable to be with us today. Mr. Mitchell.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
We apologize. We were not able to export the PowerPoint, but we will get you all a copy of that, but I will go through it today. Again, I'm with Global Links Data Centers and Subsea Cable Landing Station. We're located in Virginia Beach. We've been in existence since 2019. We are the only data center in the area that is a cable landing station and a subsea cable landing station and a data center. So we are able to provide a full array of services out of our data center. In addition to being a data center, we also are a carrier-neutral facility, meaning that we host out of our data center both national and global internet providers. The reason why we do that is so that from an economies of scale perspective and how the city would benefit when you have more competition, that is able to impact the pricing that cities, enterprises, businesses can take advantage of. So we're able to leverage that with those major carriers in our data center, such as Lumos, Lumen, Hurricane Electric, FiberLight, Segra, Shentel. We have a host. So our goal as a data center is always to make sure that we have the best of the best carriers in our data center. Many of them operate exclusively out of data centers, but our goal is to be able to provide those services to any entity that comes into Global Links. We are in the process right now of a major expansion. We have the 3 existing subsea cables in our data center. Right now, today, we are building from Sandbridge the conduit system to bring in 4 more subsea cables. So when we have the total of 7 cables in, we will be the only data center on the entire eastern seaboard that will be able to offer connectivity to these subsea cables at a speed of over 2,000 terabits per second. So we're very excited about that. We're definitely in that process and bringing that forward. We will be expanding an additional 30,000 square feet to our existing facility to be able to house these additional subsea cables. And there are many, many benefits that this offers. Many people don't know 99% of all internet traffic today travels over subsea cables. So it makes a very big difference in our economy and what we do today. I want to speak directly for a moment to the Global Link's value proposition to City of Portsmouth NGN background. Obviously, City of Portsmouth co-located in Global Links will be able to provide to the City of Portsmouth a redundant disaster recovery plan off-site. Connecting 700 Port Center Parkway will support the city's ecosystem and provide access to national and global ISPs leveraging cost-effective, high-bandwidth internet. In addition, Global Links provides to the City of Portsmouth the ability to establish direct connections with other local cities, thereby enhancing communication efficiently and utilization of public safety applications, optimizing associated costs. Obviously, at Global Links, having the other cities today, we have City of Virginia Beach in. Recently, we just had City of Chesapeake to come in. We are working with City of Norfolk so that the goal is to have all of the Hampton Roads cities in Global Links, then to expand to the peninsula as well, to be able to leverage that service. In addition to that, Global Links is looking to have a presence in the City of Portsmouth. So we're looking to build a redundant data center in the City of Portsmouth. We visited the physical sites and met with the City of Portsmouth Technology Department to identify facilities for a redundant data center. So we're very excited about that process and looking to move that process forward. I want to talk just a little bit about the Southside Network and how that ties into Global Links. In 2018, the Phase 1 agreement of the SNA was to have a regional fiber ring connecting the 5 Southside cities, followed by Phase 2, expanding to the peninsula cities and smaller localities such as Isle of Wight, Franklin, and others. Global Links, being the only data center and subsea cable landing station in the area, would be the connecting point for the SNA, providing direct connectivity to the 3 existing subsea cables. So that will give all of the municipalities direct access to those cables. And one of the most important benefits for the city is the CAD to CAD capabilities between the municipalities being co-located in Global Links. CAD to CAD enables municipalities to do the following: coordinate responses more effectively during multi-jurisdictional incidents, such as a car chase or mass casualty event, empower dispatchers and first responders with the resources they need to make informed decisions and improve response outcomes, and it creates a safer community by facilitating seamless communication and collaboration between different public safety entities. So with all of the cities co-located in Global Links, each city will just be a cross-connect away from one another and be able to share in these critical applications. And the benefit of that is being able to reduce the existing spend by being able to share and leverage these applications. A lot of times the cities use the same types of applications, public safety and different things like that. Now being in Global Links all together, being cross-connected to one another, you'll be able to leverage that from that perspective, but also have a greater level of being able to communicate quickly, looking from a CAD to CAD perspective like one entity. So as I said, if the situation happens, instead of a new process taking place from Portsmouth, for example, to Norfolk, now you're able to communicate seamlessly on that, be more effective in regards to responding to situations. So there's a host of how we're looking at reducing the existing spend that the city of Portsmouth has from a communications perspective. And obviously, anytime you can save money, that's always a good thing. So we're looking to help the city be able to do that. With what we're doing at Global Links, there is a far-reaching benefit to what these subsea cables can do for the cities, how it can basically enhance your ability to communicate on a global scale. We are very excited about being the only data center in the area that will be able to provide these services, and obviously we're excited about working with the city of Portsmouth to be able to extend those resources. That's it. Any questions?
Pretty quick.
Thank you.
Oh, you got one.
I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
I was going to see if anybody else went out there first. What locations are you looking at in Portsmouth for the data center?
We're looking at the 700 Central Park location.
Port Center.
Port Center, I'm sorry.
Port
Yes.
Center? All right. And will this data center bring jobs to the area as well, or?
The outcome of it can. Data centers don't require a lot of manpower because everything is so automated, it's monitored. Can it bring some? Yes, it can, but not from the traditional scale of when you bring a new entity into a city. But the benefits of it can. The thing I think that we have to remember too, with the subsea cables alone, is that is a draw for economic development as they're working with different entities outside of the area. Companies want to know all the time, how do I access bandwidth? How do I get to greater levels of bandwidth, terrestrial cables? And all of these benefits will be added to the city of Portsmouth by doing this.
Is there a cost associated with it?
With the cables?
The data center coming to Portsmouth?
So we're going to look at the investment from a Global Links perspective for that.
Okay.
And we're working with IT on site location to make sure everything is good.
All right. Good deal.
That information is hot off the press, if you will. Next steps, of course, with that interest, we're going to talk with the city manager and our economic development team and kind of flush out whatever negotiations that would have to happen for that to actually happen, come to fruition.
All right. Good deal. Well, thank you for thinking of Portsmouth
Absolutely.
as a location.
I did have just a quick question. You mentioned that you provide a redundant disaster recovery system, from the data center perspective, but the two locations you mentioned are both here in the same region, Virginia Beach, and now you're potentially looking at Portsmouth. Do you have data centers elsewhere?
We do have a data center in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
So also on the
And I think that the thing that's important to remember is when it comes to data centers, they're all fiber related,
Sure.
which is extremely reliable. And, at Global Links as well, as a data center, not only do we rely on Dominion's power, but we also have three 750 kVA generators to back that up. And in addition to that, battery backup. So as a data center, we're well prepared so that if we have to use those resources, we can do that.
Right, but I guess what I was trying to get at is from a typical IT perspective of thinking disaster recovery, we try to think about data centers that are outside of the potential zone of the disaster. And those locations could all be hit by the same hurricane. So I guess what I was asking had more to do with, if we're thinking of this as disaster recovery
Right.
from a data center perspective, is there a data center that would be inland?
That's good, Jeff.
Right, so with disaster recovery, there's always a primary and a secondary
Yeah.
feed. So the primary will be Global Links, and the secondary typically a QTS. And so the cities themselves
Okay.
have a secondary feed that comes to QTS.
Gotcha.
So if the main feed goes down because of a major incident, everything goes to QTS, and then there's facilities there for the main personnel to actually be staged from there as well.
Gotcha. So this isn't the entire disaster recovery scenario for Portsmouth?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just one part of it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
This might be a question for Mr. Hayes, but Mr. Mitchell, you had mentioned the potential to share application costs with the CAD to CAD. Do we have an estimate of what those costs could the cost benefits could look like and the timing of them?
I guess the way, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, what Mr. Mitchell was mentioning is our location physically being in that data center, and the fact that there are commitments from the other cities. And I was going to touch on that. This was all a part of the original strategy for why the regional ring as well as our local ring actually exists. And one of the byproducts of being a part of the SNA was that when all these cities end up in that data center with a presence, it will be a much easier process to cross-connect with all these cities right in the same facility. Obviously, I don't know if any specific costs associated with doing the cross-connects, but we already have our CAD operations stood up, and we're now anyway setting up and consolidating all of our different, right now the city, we have 4 locations with our data centers in it. We're consolidating all of that and having all of that go into one location, right, for our primary. And our primary will be in that data center in Virginia Beach. Our secondary, as you mentioned, is to go to QTS in Virginia Beach.
In Richmond.
I mean, Richmond. Sorry.
Okay, I might have misheard. I thought I had heard you say that there was at least the potential for cities that were on the same application to
CAD to CAD.
for the cost. Yeah, on the same CAD application for there to be some potential cost savings there.
And I think once all the cities are in there and you look at what City A is paying and City B is paying, and now you're able to leverage that together, then I think that automatically will provide a benefit where you can reduce costs from that perspective.
Also, I think the intent there with the cost savings is the fact that while being located in that data center, there are more ISPs that are located in that same data center that traditionally haven't had a presence here in Hampton Roads. And just the mere partnership of these cities in the region having that strategy to be there, it invited or created a special interest from all of these additional ISPs already, thus giving us opportunities and offers that have been presented to us to reduce our internet costs as a city, for one. 2, as they're locating there, we're starting to get further interest from our local network that we have here by offering some of the fibers that we have that are extra strands, so that they then will have the ability to light them up and offer it to their customers. It's infrastructure that they wouldn't have to invest in. And hopefully, ultimately, what that means is driving down the costs and increasing the reliability of internet service, not just to the city, but also to the residents that are here.
Were there any other questions for Mr. Mitchell?
Just a quick one. So I know you've been talking about like the CAD to CAD, and to be clear, we're talking computer-aided dispatch, not computer-aided design. CAD can mean, of course, different things in different circles. But I guess my question is, I know that obviously there's a definite benefit to having everyone in the same data center, the networking piece, but generally speaking, most municipalities will choose their own applications and database backends and things. So is that part of the discussion as well, to ensure that all of those various applications actually can communicate, so that if there is, as was mentioned, a potential event that crosses boundaries, that data can be shared? Because having the networking piece is great, but we all know that the applications, if they don't speak the same language, if they're not using the same data, might not work together. So I didn't know if that was part of this.
Yeah, that's all a
discussion.
part of the strategy. The regional CIOs from the very beginning, in fact, the CIOs started the conversation, recommended it to the local managers, then the mayors got involved, and that's how this whole partnership kind of came together. So thinking through the strategy of making sure that communication, there are no barriers, was a part of that entire strategy.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. So I want to bring a brand new business to Portsmouth, and I'm talking to my friends in economic development. What are they going to tell me the benefits are of having global links to my business using access through the regional ring?
Well, the strategy was for more reliable, faster, higher capacity connections to the internet overall. That was the strategy of forming this partnership and getting to those cables. Because the cables aren't just the same level of communication. It's speeds nothing like this region has been able to experience. I'm trying to think if it's not a formal commission, I would call it a committee of sorts, that businesses, the major players all over Hampton Roads are a part of this 757 RVA Connect. You may have heard about it in different circles, maybe through the chamber or what have you. But on that committee represented are major hospitals, all of them, the major universities here, all of them, Jefferson Lab, our major military installation on the peninsula, and businesses up and down here at Richmond. They're all as a part of this committee to ultimately get us to that point of this RVA 757 Connect international internet hub is what the ultimate goal is.
Okay, so let's, I need to maybe give a specific question. So I got a new business and I want to connect to the supercomputer at Jefferson Lab, and I buy access to the Portsmouth, access to the regional ring. Does my connectivity to the Jefferson Lab go through global links, or do I use the regional ring to connect directly to Jefferson Lab?
Well,
I'm trying to get the, why is global links important to marketing what we're trying to
I
do?
understand. Again, at the initial start of this partnership was to get access to those cables because of speeds, reliability, capacity. That was the whole driver behind those cables versus just having internet service from the traditional carriers that we've seen.
And I think in addition to that, as you talk about, it's kind of like, I like to use the analogy when the cell phone first came out. All you could do is make a call, receive a call. But once we had it, then the other applications began to, now you don't want to go back at all. And I think what you'll find is with those carriers that we have in Global Links, many of them basically are not ones that sell retail, so you won't see them like your traditional Cox. And they work exclusively out of data centers. Some of their cost margins are anywhere around 70% savings. So when you look at the cost of internet, it's going to be significant what it can offer to businesses throughout. And so all of that comes back to Global Links, in addition to the subsea cables and the benefits there. Because what you're going to find is cities are going to have a need to be able to leverage what subsea cables have to offer. One of the new cables, the Confluence cable, is a cable that's going to be very heavily relied upon from a financial perspective. with where that cable goes to. And that is one of the cables that will be coming in the Global Link. So there will be a lot of benefits, especially when those 4 new cables come in, but the 3 existing cables offer a lot of benefit as well. So you'll definitely be able to see savings as a company.
You'll recall also in previous meetings when we talk about cost avoidance, internet access and service that we have now as a municipality, as a city, somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000 a month is what's going out. That number already with the offerings that we've had could go to $7,000 a month. So those are the kind of savings that you have. Prior to all of this, with the introduction of these proposals from these other ISPs that are in that data center, prior to that, there was only 1 or 2 options, players in the game. And so those costs here already, even those existing providers are beginning to offer, you know, more cost-effective ways to do it, more reliability. And with the additional players, it's also keeping people honest with reliability and making investments even in the structure that they provide.
Okay, so I get the benefit, potential benefit to commercial. I get the potential benefit to city government. How about to residences?
So earlier, I was mentioning the fact that all of these ISPs now that are playing in this market will, we believe, with the competition, begin to drive down costs. Because not only are they interested in servicing our local governments in the region, many are interested in just being in the game, just being in the place. Many have kind of scoped out the city of Portsmouth, saw, you know, the neighborhoods that really need better reliability, faster connectivity, more capacity, etc. And they're in the game. They're filling out applications now, permits to begin investing in the infrastructure here, even on their own, without some of the grants and things that we see that are becoming available. They are making their investments just to be here because all of them are here in this space.
And are those ISPs the typical, what a consumer would know as opposed to the B2B that would be at the data center?
Some of them are. We were in a meeting just yesterday at Global Links, and they use us as a location to co-locate. And we were just talking about one of the things with City of Portsmouth yesterday in that meeting, how with them co-locating in Global Links, being able to offer residential services to the residents. And the nice thing about it is, you know, they're talking about various types of technology that today, compared to the competition of what's here today, is going to be drastically reduced. And they're also talking about the reliability they're going to be able to offer to the residents. So it is becoming, it's going to be more and more competitive, without question.
So right now we have 2 providers that have made the investment to put stuff in the ground. And I guess there's a 3rd provider that we've talked about because we've had some non-agenda speakers complaining that the 3rd provider was making a mess of their neighborhood.
Yeah.
So is there, well, let's say, how many ISPs are there at Global Links?
There's over 14.
Okay, so does that mean there's going to be 11 more ISPs looking to tear up our neighborhoods to put infrastructure in the ground?
I would say no to that in regards to the number, but what you will find is there are some that are going to build out fiber resources, and being in Global Links is going to help them from that structural perspective. But these are ISPs that are reliable, that have been in the industry, that Their goal is to, as minimal as best, come in and be able to extend services to the residents, but be able to provide reliable services. One of the things that we do is as we entertain carriers who want to come into the data center, we want to make sure that they're good carriers. Yeah, that's really important for us because our name is on it. So making sure that they're major players. And one of the carriers that we're talking about, just from a city perspective, is a global carrier. But their cost is so aggressive, but their services are exceptional. But the goal is to make sure that from any ISP that comes in the global link sense, it's extended out to the city, it's going to be good service.
Plus, nobody's going to want, or speaking in terms of those companies, at some point you'll hit a threshold where it becomes overly saturated.
Right,
Sure.
Right.
So they're not going to invest if they don't think that they'll be able to make money.
In the market.
So all of those 11 or 14 that are there, or some others, in addition to those, they're not going to come unless they know that it's a business case to do so.
And do we already have the infrastructure for them to run that fiber, or no?
So the strategy is the city has its local ring
Right.
around the city. We have additional strands, and at some point, the dark fiber, which isn't lit, we are able to lease to some interested parties. We already have a rate for that would be $450 a mile or something. Then, if there are others in neighboring cities, we're surrounded by the water, there's a different rate for if they want to get over into the city of Portsmouth, coming across certain bridges or
Right.
coming through the tunnel, and they're going to use our dark fiber to do so, and they will pay, I think it's $900 per mile.
But that dark fiber's already in place, it's
Yes,
not going
that's
to
a
have to
part
be,
of our,
okay.
yes, extra strands of capacity. And as a city, as a local government, according to Virginia law, correct me, Kelsey, we cannot go last mile to the door for customers.
The city cannot.
The city cannot. Mr. Bowman.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could have a moment. You got two economic development
Can you come
people
over
in the
here,
room.
please?
Chris Tillett is with me from our department. Thank you, ma'am. And so we're kind of busting loose and trying to have comments here. What we're hearing today is a huge opportunity for the city of Portsmouth to be a named player in the connectivity globally, which enables us to be able to begin to build an equitable internet environment for our citizens, but also an environment that's going to attract businesses to leverage this infrastructure that's in the ground. With our precious land that we have, we're looking at vertical development opportunities. We've got some key places in the city that we've already targeted, and the City Council and the EDA have prioritized the waterfront in downtown, the Link District, the Entertainment District, among other places that we're going to be looking to energize a lot of this dark fiber and network with Jeff's team and Cliff's team, which is going to put us, the guys that are out there selling this product, so to speak, in a very good and enviable position compared to our competitors up and down the East Coast, and in fact, in the United States. The zero latency connectivity provided by the subsea cable contacts connection is huge. I mean, just the difference of a millisecond or a second between here and Richmond, how many billions of dollars can you make in that span of time? It's hard to even wrap your mind around it. So when the world is looking at Virginia, everybody's looked at Loudoun County and what great things they've done up there with building big boxes, and it's like driving through a canyon up there. We're not going to be that, or do we desire to be that? But what we do desire to be is being able to use this infrastructure to bring employment opportunities to the city that are going to be attracted here, that are going to employ our citizens. So we're on the verge of some big stuff here, and we've got to take advantage of it. We're already out on the street selling this concept. We've been involved in the RVA 757 Connects initiative. We've been present with state officials talking about the opportunities here. And in fact, having just transitioned from the city of Virginia Beach, I can tell you specifically that we worked with Global Links day and night to be sure that those cables are coming through Virginia Beach. That being said, we don't want to be a bypass place for all this information flow and let it go someplace else. We've got to build an opportunity to absorb it here in Hampton Roads. This is a start. So we're very supportive of it. I can't wrap my mind around all of the benefits that the technology brings us. It changes every day. We're not talking terabytes.
We are close to petabytes.
I can't count that high, but I know it's good. So we are at a very enviable place in the U.S. and in fact in the world. And when you look at the places where these global connections are occurring, there's very few places. Several in Europe, here, South America, and I don't know where the points are in Asia, but nevertheless, we're at the center of this storm, if you will. And let's forget geographic boundaries in Hampton Roads. It's the whole region that has the opportunity to take advantage of this. The Jefferson Lab folks wouldn't have any reason to come here if they didn't think they'd have the infrastructure that's going to support it. So businesses see that. It's our job to go out and sell it. And we're very excited about it.
Do you have a definitive, and this might be for Mr. Hayes, but is there that definitive timeline so we know we're selling it such that starting this date, this month, this year, we're going to be able to offer what we're promising?
We're already out talking about it.
Right.
We've got backup information that's in development. The RVA 757, I wish I had a copy with me. Mega Region has produced a map that shows the pathway of all the fiber, where it comes in, where it's going to be going in Hampton Roads, all the way up to Richmond. So it's a proven pathway to success. Let me just say that what we have in hand now and what it's going to be is going to be beyond any other region in the U.S. in our estimation. So it's our job to get out there and sell it. We're already talking about it.
We've already got contract documents in with the city, so once that's done, we've got contract documents in already with the city, so once that's done, we can begin that process of co-locating in Global Links and being able to start moving those resources forward.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned some of the global players. Let's take Meta, for example. They're already here. They're coming. They're here. They're present. Microsoft is here. They're present. There's no other places up and down the East Coast that can say that. But we got the major players here. They like to keep that on the low key for a variety of reasons. Probably a lot of it security. But the people that know what this is all about understand the advantages of being around this infrastructure. So again, we're very excited from an economic development perspective. Our associates in the region are very excited. So we're all pulling together to try to leverage the infrastructure to bring employment and investment opportunities to build this equitable environment for our citizens. Bottom line.
Did you have a follow-up question?
So
Yeah.
I just want to ask the same question differently. So is there anything that the city has to get done in order for a business that you're out marketing, if they were to show up tomorrow and they want to plug in to the zillion terabit per second, 3 undersea cables, are we waiting on the city to get anything done, or can they plug in tomorrow?
So we have to connect our local ring to that data center. And that's a part of our strategy. We're doing that. That's not fully complete connecting to them. Our ring is here. The infrastructure, the fibers are in the ground. The dark fiber, the excess fibers that we're not using as a city are going to be available. So we can start those talks. That's why they're hitting the street talking to whoever they can. If they lock in with somebody, we can begin that process in the next presentation, which we probably need to defer because of your time for your other work session. We also show opportunities with some other businesses that are here in the city of Portsmouth that are interested, i.e. casino, right? I.e. it's not a business, but it's a community anchor institution in Tidewater Community College, right? We also have a new strategy as well as purpose, additional purposes, going in with the old SIPSA facility on Victory Boulevard, 4 Victory Boulevard, where I guess in terms of their old operations might have been, set up with older technologies, but now it may cause for higher speeds and use to do whatever. Our fiber being in that vicinity is an opportunity. Same thing with, you may have heard, the largest business investment, capital investment in Hampton Roads was LS Greenlink. That announcement came maybe a month ago, I think it was, and they're located in the city of Chesapeake, but you can't get to it without coming through Portsmouth. We have our fiber. Potentially, they could be a customer, potentially. But being in the city of Chesapeake, I guess the question is, do they hop on the Chesapeake ring, or can they hop on our ring in order to get to Global Links? Is the question.
Okay, so then as a follow-up, so the short answer is you're in the way of him marketing more than a promise right now. So are we days, weeks, or months away from getting Portsmouth connected to Global Links so that Charlie's selling a service, not a promise?
Yeah, we're working. We got a plan for that. Our community anchor institutions and our connectivity there, all of that is by the end of this December, all of that's going to be finished.
Okay, so that's part of the plan for the plan?
Can I answer this way?
Yes, sir.
If he sells somebody a connection, we'll make that happen. We'll do it. It's not a matter of we're going to wait till December and say, okay, then we'll do it. If there's actually a business that's ready to locate, the commitment that I'll make to him is, if you find a business, we'll connect them today.
In other words, we've already ordered the equipment as well.
So that's kind of where I'm trying to get to. Is it going to take days or weeks or months to make that connection so that if somebody shows up tomorrow, we're selling we can have you connected next week or next month or end of December?
No, I would say days. Because if they're connecting to an existing piece of our network,
Yeah.
now if we got to build to them, that's something
Sure.
different. But if they're locating where they already can get onto our existing network, the rest of this stuff is not as complicated because the fiber's already in the ground. We just need to put some equipment between the two places
Yeah.
to get to where we need to get to. So we can make that happen in a week.
Okay.
Let me just add on to those comments. I mean, these guys could go anywhere and build a co-location facility in Hampton Roads. We've teamed up with them and convinced them, and they're believers that Portsmouth is the place where you need to have this second co-location facility. That's going to support everything the manager just told us about.
Now, they don't have to be here to do this. We can get to them where they're sitting today.
Sure.
Okay.
But they're willing to come
The
in.
regional ring.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're willing to come in and invest, I'm going to say millions of dollars to start, and who knows where it could grow to be in the future. But we'll have that ability to say, not only is the city already invested, that we've got private sector support entities like Global Links investing money in the network in Portsmouth. So it's a huge opportunity for the city to be listed in the Loudoun County, Henrico County, all these places that are touting success digitally. Portsmouth's going to be in that game.
Are you marketing to our military installations in Portsmouth?
We've that's a great question. I personally have talked to some of those folks and talked to some of the NAVFAC people that are designing a lot of these things. I found that in a lot of cases, they don't really want to let us know a lot because of the sensitive nature of their communication networks. But we are talking to them, and we do need to bring them up to date as to what this is all about. I will tell you that these guys bringing the subsea cables across the ocean were in very serious discussions and negotiations with decision makers from the federal government in D.C. So that they don't run this thing through the area off of Dam Neck for all the sensitive reasons everybody knows about, and it doesn't bump up against the power cables coming from the Seaval Wind Project. So when you got this great big ocean, it gets narrowed down to like this much space to bring these cables in. But what I'm trying to say is there's an opportunity there. We need to be sure that they understand it. The Suffolk facility that the military operates wouldn't be there if they didn't think that the internet connectivity is here. But with your guidance, maybe we can get to the right people here at the installation level that are making decisions on where they're putting their infrastructure to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of unclass traffic that, the hospital, the shipyard, Coast Guard station, and they need bandwidth and they need speed. And I'm not sure, if we're not telling them what we're doing, I'm not sure how they would know.
Are those decisions made locally? Because I've run these type networks before, and a lot of those decisions aren't made at the local level. You have to kind of work your way back to the local level.
Yeah, so not necessarily will the decision be made locally, but the request for bandwidth and speed comes locally to the headquarters entities. And the headquarters, if the local guys don't know what we're doing, you can be sure the headquarters guys don't know what we're doing. And so we got to get in somewhere, and the somewhere to get in are the bases that are right here on our inside our boundaries.
But you feel confident you have the ability to address any of their security concerns?
Well, that's a good question. I would tell you, as an individual, probably not.
That's going to be their major concern.
Sure.
Most of these players are going to bring their own equipment to the table.
Right.
All we're going to give them is some dark fiber.
Right.
They're going to control that network themselves.
True, I get that, but if I'm sending something across fiber, if I'm government, I don't want anybody else on that cable.
Well, nobody else would be. That's why we're going
Okay.
to sell you dark fiber.
Okay.
You have your equipment
Okay.
on one end, your
So
equipment
it's
on the other end.
dedicated.
It's a dedicated
Okay,
piece of fiber
that's-
for you.
Let me answer.
That was my whole
Let
thing,
me
is
answer a
it
couple of
sequestered
questions that are floating
Okay.
around here. There's two avenues where we can start to have that communication. The PMAC, and also we're now active members of the Association of Defense Communities in DC, which gives us access to major players in the DC decision-making arena. And the same here locally with the PMAC. So my recommendation is we bring this group to make the presentation to the next PMAC, so those COs from the installations or the senior people understand what we're doing. I would tell you, and I'm just venturing a guess here, that the federal government, certain places, know more about what's going on from an internet perspective and communications perspective than we do. And they've probably got some, I'm not a conspiracy guy, but they've probably got some networks out there that are working for them specifically that we may not even be aware of. So I think the answer to that question is they probably know what the security environment is. Otherwise, they wouldn't be making the reinvestment. The defense industry wouldn't be looking at Hampton Roads to be here to support the physical footprint of the industrial complex.
And keep in mind that strategy of the RVA 757 Connect between Central Virginia and Hampton Roads. Again, that committee of sorts, the chambers are part of that. They continue to talk about it. And they definitely are in communication with military installations. So it gets marketed. It's just a matter of it actually saturating and decisions to end up getting made. But that communication is going on all the time.
But to go back to answer your question, Councilman, what can the city do? We can enable through whatever means, financially included, to get these guys physically in the city as soon as we possibly can.
So I'll be following up with Mr. Carter as well as our legal staff and economic development as a team to start talking about what it would take to get them in that location here in the city.
And it doesn't hurt to have a city manager who's got an IT background.
Understanding.
They don't come along like that every day of the week, so that's very helpful.
Mr. Hayes, is there the potential, and I'll ask you too, Mr. Carter, for us to see a high-level project plan so that we can get, I'm used to when we're dealing with these kinds of things, knowing this is what's likely to happen in December, this is what's happening in January, February, March, and understand that the further that we go out, the more wishful thinking it gets, because there's some unknowns, but I don't think I've ever seen that kind of clearly says, here's what needs to happen, here are the key milestones, here's where we're waiting on an outside vendor to do something, here's where the city's in charge. Is that possible to see that?
Absolutely. We'll be happy to share that with you.
We have that for our local as well as the regional ring. You build a critical path so that you see what the necessary steps are, simultaneous things that are happening.
Thank you.
With that, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we did have a second presentation, which actually has some of that information you all have at your desk. But we can actually do that presentation, save that for next month.
Okay. All right. Were there any other questions from the... Did we have any outside questions?
No, we have no speakers.
Speakers. One of these days, though, we will. All right. So our next meeting looks like it's scheduled for August the 12th at 4 p.m. And Barring any other new business, we stand adjourned.